Iris startup. Information display. Iris shut down.
I think that was our target. It grabbed a civilian. Come on, hurry! I'll be your savior. Look out! I'll be your savior. This does not look good. There could be more survivors out there.
Keep your guard up.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Chobra Plays Astral Chain, the anime that happens to be a video game that happens to be really good. In the last episode, we played through what felt like was pretty much the entirety of our first real mission, but we're not quite done yet. Okay, we all knew that was coming, but it's still really cool. Mostly because his Legion is sick with that two-handed sword. And he just seems to have cooler moves than pretty much anybody else. I guess it makes sense because he's the captain, he's probably trained with it the longest. But it's going to be the full squad showing up. That's our twin sister Akira. The bow's pretty cool too. Honestly, the Legions are all really well designed, IMO. And as I was recording this, rewatching this sequence, if they made a VR game where you could team up with your friends and you controlled your Legions like this, and you could set up combos like this in VR, I would play the heck out of that, even if it's like a shorter game. Mostly because, I don't think I would ever play a VR game that's a total of, tens of hours of gameplay. We do end up getting rank D. I'll be honest, I'm way further into the game. I still don't really know the grading system, but...
I nearly lost it. It's a good thing you held it off that long. Jesus, you're gonna be the death of me, you know that?
Well, I can't say you look good, but you're way tougher than I thought.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty cool line coming from someone who just damn near cried their eyes out.
I was not crying.
Hey, guys. Look around. Who'd have thought the gates led to a place like this?
Yeah, we gotta remember that, right? We went into this multi-dimensional gate that we were warned not to go through, and here we are in this weird Matrix-looking system.
You ever feel like you're somewhere you're not supposed to be?
Also, during my playthrough, this call freaked me out. That's like a soundbite of nightmares. Can you imagine if you're sleeping and you wake up to that? Man, that'd be an effective alarm.
Thank God you're all alive. Jeez, I thought I'd never see any of you again. But I'm glad you're all okay. Okay, now if you set the radio channel from that side, I can get through to you. And the multi-scanner works too. The visuals are pretty noisy, but they'll do in a pinch. So, that's it, huh? The Chimera's home turf.
I love how everyone's just really calm about all of this. No one's freaked out.
Heads up. I'm picking up signs
I guess
of
when you
life
live in a
right
world
nearby.
like this, anything's
I
possible.
can't get a read on any IDs, but I think it might be some missing people. Switch on your iris and check it out.
We're not done with the mission just yet. Now that I'm looking back on it, the missions are really long in this game.
My whole body feels heavy.
I can't even begin to guess what we might find here. We are in absolutely uncharted territory.
Cool story, bro. Really, Jin? Come on, you're stuck in this other dimension. In all fairness,
freaked out. Think of
this
how those
scene
civilians
stands
must
out to me
feel.
because I've had this happen to
Time
me
to gut it
before,
out, people.
and if my assumptions are correct, what most likely happened is they had to record the voice lines without the footage. And there's a number of reasons why you would do that. Maybe the footage just wasn't produced yet, and you don't have time to come back to it later. Maybe it was a remote recording, and again, same reason, just time. You just figure, all right, send the script, tell them kind of what's going on, and they'll record it, and we're just gonna smash it all together at once because we need to ship this out.
Not to scare you,
And I've had
but
to
all
do
of your
that
corruption
before,
levels have been
and it
steadily
stinks,
climbing
right?
since you
Because
went through the
you're
gate.
relying purely on
None
written
of
and
you are in the
spoken
danger
direction,
zone yet.
and
Maybe
you
you
have
have
to
the
trust
lead
each
in
other
it.
that the scene is being
worst case scenario,
delivered
you might
as it
find
is
your
meant
Legion's
to,
sync
that your
levels dropping
imaginations are
dangerously low.
lining up on the perfect
Check on those
wavelength.
biosignals.
And
then
most
get out
likely,
of
from
there
what
as
it sounds
fast as
like,
you can.
the script said something along
Keep
the
an eye
lines
out
of,
for a gate you
you
can
know, I don't know, lethargic or low on energy. Because Jin definitely sounds low on
kids,
energy,
you heard the lady.
just
Let's not hang
a
around
different
any
type
longer
of
than
low
we
on
have
energy. Right now, Jin sounds like he's just chilling on his couch on a sunny Saturday afternoon and doesn't really have a care in the world, whereas really they're low on energy because they feel sick because they're in this other dimension. But I just had to point it out because I was watching it again as I was editing as well, and if you've had to do that before yourself, it's both funny and slightly painful because you just know that it stinks. Because I've done recordings before without watching the footage, and then I'll watch the final product and I'll be like, oh, yeah, nope, that's not what they meant. Yeah, no, big mistake. But what can you do at that point? So, and now that I'm thinking about it, it could also just be, you know, a lack of clarity in the translation, just because there are nuances across the different languages. Just wanted to point that out, mostly because it makes me reminisce
over
about
there.
the times I've
I
had to
see
do that,
someone.
and it didn't turn
They
out
look
very
hurt.
well. But I should wrap that up by saying that I am very happy with the voice acting in this game overall, mostly because it's generally pretty good,
Neither
and
of them
also
have any major
there's
injuries.
a lot of it, even for
Olive,
NPCs
I'm
that
sending you my
don't
scanner.
necessarily need it.
Can you get a read on their
and that means that
corruption
they went
levels?
out of their way
Just a sec.
to create that universe. So
Okay.
absolutely love it.
One's at 5.18, the other's 4.8.
All right, so as we were talking about that, we've been going through this area to try to find these civilians that were captured. Obviously, I went through it,
Great, let's
trying
get
to
out
clean
of
up all the
here.
red matter as well, because I'm a
Olive, where's
perfectionist.
that gate?
I can't find anything. There's too much dimensional distortion in the vicinity. You're going to have to go back to where you fought that Chimera.
And now we got to get them out through a gate, and we can't find a new one, so we have to walk back. Of course, it's never that easy. There's something about cube-like structures that rotate. Like Rubik's Cube type things. Just something mysterious and highly intellectual
bad.
feeling about it.
We're almost out of time.
Akira, you keep everyone safe, okay?
Well, it's time for the twins to shine.
You come with me. Let's take these bastards out.
Alright, some father-son bonding time. Let's do this. Shouldn't be too hard. We've seen these guys before with the shields.
Let's go.
Man, his Legion's so cool. Has like a dome shield as well. So I tried to do a quick scan there, and the scan, I mean, you can get some information on them for sure, but the health bar portion only really applies to bosses.
Shit. Just a little more.
Oh no,
Almost.
Oh no.
our dad's getting beat up in the background, you can see him. Mostly because of that corruption from the red shifting. We've gotten a lot better with our combos, but we eventually fall. Oh, that voice is never good. No, don't lose your voice, computer. Oh boy. Yeah, so clearly the Legion are not very happy with what's going on. You gotta remember that these Legion are actually chimeras from this dimension that we've captured and basically tamed, which is why they're chained. Yeah, he does not look happy.
What's going on? Commander?
Olive, the override release command. Hurry!
No use. The override release isn't going through.
That's impossible.
That's impossible. What do you mean it's impossible? It's happening right now. Uh-oh. Freedom! With a side of anger. Personally, kind of liking the new color scheme a little bit better. Black and red always looks really cool. But yeah, definitely not good news. Oh. This caught me way off guard. But there you have it. Yeah, so they're basically just really angry, and they don't care if you're a chimera or a human. Which is probably the most dangerous that anything can be when they don't care for their own kind.
This is an unprecedented
Well, now we have to
situation.
fight our
Perhaps the
own partner,
environment beyond
basically.
The gates has caused some
And there is me
aberration. The Legion
messing up with the D-pad again. I eventually get used to it later on in the game, but
Commander, do something!
generally the D-pad on the Pro
Commander,
Controller
there's gotta be
has
something we can do to
always
save
been a bit of
them.
a iffy thing.
Do something now! Try setting your legatus to mode C. You may be able to recapture them.
How do we do that?
You'll have to weaken the legions first. Though I suppose that's easier said than done.
Well, if you don't have any other ideas, looks like that's our only option.
Oh, I was wondering where everybody else is, but you can see them in the background on different platforms. They're all fighting. Also, why do they always become cooler and stronger when they fight against you? In any, like, story. Look at all these skills that our Sword Nemesis or Sword Legion has. Oh, that's right. Time to come back home. There's definitely an underlying moral storyline here about capturing and turning them against their own kind. I don't know if they're ever going to push that theme actually further, but this game loves slow motion in cutscenes. Although I think this was meant to show us that, like, our character is not normal. I think it's his hypersensitivity that we're seeing. And everyone's failing to capture their own Legion, so that leaves no choice. Oh, and we also turn into full anime mode again. Our hair color's changed. We have the blue veins flowing through our body again. We saw this in the opening mission.
What the hell's with your hair? It's just like before.
Well, what's
I like how
going
the
on?
hair is what Max comments on.
Think rating? It's off the charts.
A true Legionis. Yes.
Yeah, time to take this
Whatever's
back.
going
Well,
on,
I was gonna
now's
say
our best chance. Gotta do this while
take
they're
the turf
distracted.
back, but it's not our
Get
turf.
those civilians to safety now.
But yeah, so it's us against our squad's other legions.
Let's back up Jin and Alicia and find us a way out of here. Come on!
Yes, sir!
So this battle's really cool because it basically shows you a bunch of things that you're supposed to be able to do later on in the game, but in a very simplified manner. Like all these sync attacks, originally you only had one type that you could do, but now they're showing you sync attacks you can do from like countering and dodging and chaining sync attacks, and therefore your combos just become a lot cooler. And I'm only realizing this now as I've progressed through the game, and I've had to unlock these skills through the skill tree. But therefore, going back and watching this, that's a really clever way to do it. Because story-wise, it makes you feel really strong and cool because you're saving the whole squad by trying to battle everyone's very, very strong legions that technically are supposed to be stronger than yours because they've been, you know, training for a lot longer. But you're also learning about the abilities and kind of how cool you should look by the end of the game. So it's really neat. I've always had a lot of interest in how games basically kind of, for lack of a better term, lead you on to what you're supposed to expect from the later part of the game and how fun and cool it's supposed to be. Because a lot of games that end up not getting huge fan bases, that's usually their biggest trouble, right? And especially games that are difficult suffer from that a lot, because it's hard to present that without like spoiling the game or making it any easier. But I think this scene does it really well because the difficulty ramps up in the fact that you're fighting against multiple different ones and you've seen them be just completely badass. So even though you feel really strong, right, there's no health bar, or maybe that's because I didn't scan them, but then you end up fighting all four at once. So that's where the difficulty comes in. But you still feel really strong. And it's also simplified, so you're not scared off by the difficulty it's going to take later. Well, it's time for the final showdown. Just blink out? Maybe I just dodged. I'm also realizing as I'm watching through this this game's really heavy on cutscenes. I'm not complaining. I actually enjoy it a lot, and it did not feel slow at all while playing. It didn't feel like it was disrupting my gameplay. But there's a lot of cutscenes. That's probably why it also feels like an anime a lot more than just the aesthetic design. But we're gonna learn a new skill we can do with the legions here. So still somewhat in tutorial mode, right? You gotta remember that we're still technically in the first mission. So, oh, I missed that. Also really cool how they avoid death from falling. It's because you'll always have a legion, and so they can always rescue you. You still take damage, so there's a penalty. But you don't just die dropping off an edge. Yeah, again, I guess I had more skills to use because we were like super powered up, but anyway, rank B. Eventually I'll probably want to go through all these missions in the highest difficulty, Platinum Ultimate, and try to see if I can get S+ on everything. Oh no. Oh no, Akira. Don't fall. can't help but smile at just how over the top this game is. You gotta love it, honestly. Anyway, good save. Whew. Everyone's just like, alright, good show, kiddo. Ah, it ain't over till it's over. Looks like these are gonna be our final bosses later on.
I'll keep him busy.
What? You don't even have a legion?
Listen to me. We don't have time. The legions are the very last hope humanity's got. And today, we lost all of them. Except yours.
Oh,
we can't risk
my.
losing that too.
He's not
Captain,
wrong, but...
let me help you!
Jin!
Oh no.
Jin, what are you... Let me go! Let me go! Dad! Dad!
Don't worry. I'll be back. I promise.
Dang.
Go. And remember what happened here. It'll make you stronger. You're the one who's got to save the world now. But for now, just do me one favor. Your sister, Akira. Keep her safe. You got it? Do that for me. Go!
Oh my. Ugh. Doesn't get easy. Watched it a million times, doesn't get easy. One of the most common tropes in storytelling, and it still doesn't get easy. It was really well done because of, I think the moment that it hits you is when Akira gives up on calling him captain and goes back to calling him dad.
Stop! Stop! Let go! Let me go!
Akira! Do you want to lose the captain for nothing?
But... Dad...